It's been an interesting week, and it usually is an interesting one. But for example, Jacob Zuma is officially going to be on the ballot in South Africa. We'll be dissecting that. I was going to get into the whole election, but it's like a braai. You don't put the meat right after you start the fire. Let it sizzle. Take some time with it. We're also going to be talking about President Yoweri Museveni in Uganda, who has decided to have band members arrested because they felt like his speech was too long. And I'm like, at 79, which one of your speeches are not long, sir? I have real questions. I also have some questions about some Ugandan parliamentarians who have decided that they want a hair salon in the parliament building. And oddly, I might be on their side. Welcome to Second Take. All right, it's time to get into our stories of the week. Former South African President Jacob Zuma, the phoenix of South African politics, has been granted a golden ticket back to the political circus by a South African court. Now, this ruling flips the bird to the Electoral Commission, which tried to keep him out of the ring, citing a rulebook thicker than Zuma's illegal defense fund. You see, Zuma, the master of political jiu-jitsu, managed to pull a legal rabbit out of his hat, arguing that a little presidential pardon washed away his sins, much like that one shower. Now, the African National Congress is sweating bullets, or spears, I guess, realizing that their prodigal son will not be returning. I doubt anyone has had the word corruption next to their name more than Jacob Zuma. Perhaps just the Corruption Commission. Yet, his popularity has not taken a hit in KwaZulu-Natal, and for Jay-Z, audacity begins at home. It will be interesting to observe how Zuma, Ramaphosa, Malema, and Steinheisen square up in the Royal Rumble that no one asked for. The insults will be flying and diplomacy will be non-existent, and Second Take will be here for all of it. Now, in Uganda, some musicians were arrested for insulting President Museveni. The Runyankole-speaking members of the Crane Performers Band are alleged to have said Ruta Bandana Waturusia Ruga Hamuzindaro, which loosely translates to "Over speaker, we are tired, leave the microphone," according to security sources. Privately owned Uganda Radio Network News website reported. Now, the complaint by one of the band members was seen as an insult to President Yoweri Museveni, who was speaking during the 50th wedding anniversary celebrations of a former prime minister. Here's the thing. Politicians tend to drag with speeches, and the last thing anyone wants to deal with at a wedding celebration is impromptu rally speeches. President Yoweri Museveni is 79 years old. It is hard to speak and be engaging for a long period of time when you can't help but digress more often than you stick to one point. And besides, saying "over speaker, leave the microphone" is not the worst Museveni has heard from a musician. For example, Bobby Wine just last week called Museveni the chief architect, chief priest and midwife of corruption in Uganda, further stating that Uganda will only rid itself of corruption when it rids itself of Museveni. Now, I'm not saying that the president does not deserve respect, but the thing about being president for that long is that your presence starts to feel like a song that you once loved that has been on repeat for 38 years. Oh, and you don't have the power to choose your own playlist. No matter how well Bobby Wine sings, Museveni plans to make Uganda dance to his own beat, no matter how slow that is.
Attention kids, we have some exciting news for you. We are back, and this year we are planning on going big. So listen up. If you are in grade 3, grade 2, grade 1 or pre-primary, we are bringing your free school workbooks to you soon. This is all you need to know about where you can find your books. Books will be available for free in Republican Street Sale newspapers and all Namibian Sun newspapers. And for all pre-primary kids out there, your books will be delivered to your school in all 14 regions of Namibia. And there's more. Pre-primary books will also be printed in 9 different languages. Check out when your book will be available from the schedule right here. That's not all. Our free online school is there to help you along the way with video lessons and more books to download. You can also follow along on NTV every Monday to Friday from 9:30 to 11:30 for your daily online school lesson. We thank all our sponsors who are helping to build a brighter future for Namibia. Contact us at info@acdtrust.com and follow us on Instagram.
Now, Russ Cook became the first person to run the full length of Africa, 10,000 miles in 351 days, basically a marathon a day through 16 countries. Have a look at his incredible story.
This is the moment British extreme athlete Russ Cook finished running the entire length of Africa. He started nearly a year ago in South Africa and logged his final day of running in Tunisia on Sunday.
I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew I was also going into the unknown, so I had no idea really of how hard it was going to be, but it's safe to say that it surpassed all expectations. But there's obviously been a bunch of times where it was very difficult. Sahara Desert, sandstorms, and pushing that mileage up for the last couple of months was really tough as well. But got to get it done, and the only way out is the end.
Cook can pinpoint his toughest challenge. It wasn't being robbed at gunpoint in Angola or even being slammed by food poisoning. It was getting kidnapped in the Congo by a gang armed with machetes.
The scariest moment was in the Congo when I was on the back of a motorbike thinking I was about to die. Getting driven into the jungle. That was pretty nuts.
In the end, Cook ran nearly 10,000 miles and made it through 16 countries. The 27-year-old raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity and amassed a crowd of supporters who joined him for the trek's final leg. Blake Warren flew in from the U.S.
I saw the post on Instagram where he invited everyone out. I was laying on my couch. I literally got on Skyscanner. I looked for a ticket, and 20 minutes later, I bought the ticket, and here I am. I just couldn't miss a crazy historic opportunity like this.
Cook says motivating others to get off the couch and get active is what his quest was ultimately all about.
It would be awesome to get people moving more. I'm a big believer in sport. Changed my life, so I'd love for more people to be, inspired or motivated to go out running or taking part in any kind of sport.
While enjoying a hard-earned rest is on the immediate to-do list, Cook says he isn't hanging up his running shoes just yet.
I've scratched the itch for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if I start planning some more things in pretty soon. I've got a whole list of ideas.
Well, Russ Cook, the hardest geezer managing to walk the length of Africa, is incredible. It was a reflection of the resilience of the human spirit that would have never been possible if he had an African passport.
bitch. What? This is what you call a bad bitch. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad bitch. What? This is what you call a bad bitch. Looks a little something like this. Bit like I can't.
All right, going back to Uganda, women legislators have raised an unexpected request for Parliament to establish a salon to cater to their grooming needs. State Minister for Water and Environment Beatrice Anwar conveyed this request, suggesting that having a beauty parlor within Parliament would encourage greater participation in legislative activities among women. I mean, who knew that this is what the voters were looking for? The best way to improve service delivery is to make sure that all weaves are on point and all edges are laid. Minister Anwar is not unreasonable. She also expressed appreciation for Parliament's provision of a gym, but noted that few women felt comfortable using it, fearing that vigorous exercise routines might disrupt their hair. I mean, that's how it is. Why work on your long-term health when it can mess up your short-term appearance? It makes perfect sense. The real problem is the Ugandan people that feel like parliamentarians that receive plentiful benefits should prioritize their issues. I mean, how dare you? Clearly, what is most important is that your representatives look good, because when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you might actually consider doing the job you got elected to do. We all remember what they said as they got sworn in. Ugandan interest second, lace frontal 100% Brazilian weaves first. Of course, what is worrying is that their president is not in a position to make any decisions about hair. Don't ask me how I know. Now, last week saw the repatriation of 32 royal items that had been taken from the Ashanti Empire in West Africa. And by taken, we mean stolen. However, this repatriation is based on a loan deal. We went into this story as the deal was announced earlier in the year. Two prestigious British museums, the British Museum as well as the Victoria and Albert Museum, have decided to embark on a groundbreaking cultural collaboration with Ghana. The catch? They're returning gold and silver artifacts that were blatantly stolen during Britain's colonial escapades in West Africa. But don't call it a return. It's a long-term loan. Yes, you heard that right. 150 years after British troops swiped precious items from the Asante people during the colonial plunderfest, the masterminds behind this peculiar arrangement have deemed it fit to loan back the stolen loot. In a joint statement that surely left dictionaries searching for new definitions of absurdity, the museums declared the collaboration as important and cultural, conveniently sidestepping those annoying UK laws that prohibits the return of ill-gotten cultural treasures to their countries of origin. You know, who knew cultural sensitivity could be so easily circumvented by a loan loophole? The loan agreement involves 17 items, including 13 pieces of Asante royal regalia acquired by the Victoria and Albert Museum at an auction in 1874. The items, mind you, were purchased fair and square after being acquired by British troops during the not-so-polite Anglo-Asante Wars. But why let details like theft and colonial oppression dampen the spirit of cultural camaraderie? Fear not, dear viewer, for this loan arrangement is just the tip of the stolen artifact iceberg. The British Museum alone proudly boasts a collection of 239 items of Asante regalia, making you wonder if they're just loaning or planning to open an exclusive colonial-themed exhibition. The notion of loaning back stolen treasures is undoubtedly a stroke of comedic genius. After all, who needs restitution when you can have a culturally enlightened loan agreement? Bravo, British museums, for turning cultural repatriation into an unparalleled farce that will be remembered for centuries or until the next looting spree disguised as a cultural exchange happens. We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kaha.
Wij zijn CVI is er aan neertrekken. Hij bal ligt mij grond gevat. Ja, hij grond gevat. En dan zie
But just enough next.
So, we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love it. I love it. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Now, many people have limited knowledge of Africa, and oftentimes it can get tiresome explaining the African reality. So this TikToker has decided to answer all important questions about Africans with a touch of sarcasm.
Can Africans read? Africans can't read, but whenever the need arises for us to read, we just close our eyes and summon the spirit of the Black Panther, and that spirit is going to possess us. And immediately we look at the words, it gets automatically translated into Afrikanese, and then we can understand it. And that's how we read in Africa. Yeah. Africans can't speak English. In fact, we don't know any words in English language. Whenever the need arises for us to speak in English, we just close our eyes and summon the spirit of our ancestors who were alive during the colonial era. And then their spirit is going to possess us. So we just open our mouth and speak our language, and it automatically translates into English language. So no, Africans can't speak English. So how do you say yeah in English? You know what, never mind. I'll ask the ancestors. Africans don't watch TV. In fact, we don't know what TVs are. What we do is every new moon, we gather at our king's palace in Zamunda, around the biggest rock in the palace that has drawings from our ancestors. And then once the reflection of the moon hits this rock, those drawings and characters start to move. And that is what we watch for entertainment. So no, we do not have TV. We do not have TV in Africa.
Connection. It's in the human touch. The feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toyvon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. The Agenda aims to reach high-end news consumers seeking informed understanding of national issues. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and the Namibia Media Holdings Facebook platform. The agenda focuses on interviews where we put the nation in the hot seat. Contact Agenda at synergy.com.na to get your product and service in the hot seat. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Hallo Namibia, ons is by die kus en ons is lus.
Away by the Easter shark.
Okay. Okay, so yes. Please, today you make sure that we are fed. Sorry, ek as
All right, so that's been our show. Jacob Zuma is officially back. I've got a theory. I feel like he was using the first half of his head the first time he was president. Now he's using the second half, which is why he has more energy than we assumed that he would have. But either way, May 29th, South Africa goes to the election, and we're going to make sure we bring you all those details. In Namibia, things are starting to pick up. Panduleni Tula has started walking. And, some people will be like, is he really, about what he says? But I actually think he talks as often as he walks. As to the value of what he is actually saying, we'll see how all of that unfolds. From me, Ashwyn Mberi, don't argue too much after the show. Second Take is out.